Welcome to the temple classroom. Now, we're in Lion's Gate. I mean, like, there's just so much. There's just so much to talk about here. And, there is so much energy. Everything's in retrograde and everything like that. So I thought actually, and I had a chat to Sekhmet about this, we need to soothe our systems just a little bit, right? It has been so very, very, very intense for many of us, right? As these energies have kind of like come in. And I would like to bring a bit of clarity and chuck some things into the circle today, kind of like ask some questions, stimulate some dialogue with you and yourself and Sekhmet. And really, this Lion's Gate is very, very different to any other. I said it, I think everybody was on the same page here. That we were all talking about the same thing, that Lion's Gate is one of those, we're all feline frequency here. We are all daughters and sons of Sekhmet, we connect very deeply there. And how many of us say, oh my God, can't wait, it's Lion's Gate, here we go. And then it comes in and we're like, oh my God, make it stop. I don't want to do this anymore. And every year I say, shit, I forgot how intense this is, and it's like, but you know what? Those that show up, we have the power and we have the strength and we have the determination to do this, because this is why we are family of Sekhmet, right? So I'm just bringing, well, her energy is already in because I've just called her in before the call and she's very much with us, and it is just Sekhmet, no other. She made it very clear. She's like, I'm not sharing the space with anyone, even her counterpart Hathor. She's always in the background bringing the love, but this is Sekhmet, man. This is Sekhmet, So before we go in and I start into my mad frequency firing round, we're going to go into a bit of a meditation and just ground our systems and our beings into the roots a little bit, so we can all just and imagine yourself holding hands in a circle, all of those things, right? So closing your eyes and just allowing yourself to come into this space now. And I want you to take a really big, deep breath in through the nose. Hold it when you get to the top, and I want you to give the biggest sigh out. Release. You deserve that. You need that. Breathing in, inhale. Hold it at the top. And exhale. One more, make it count, make it the biggest one. Inhale. Hold. And exhale. And find yourself just settling into the space with one another, even though we don't know each other logically from the mind. We know each other. We're soul family. So you can visualize us all now stood in a circle, and we start to just hold hands and connect. And that brings a level of comfort in itself. And now you have a little bit of a look around the circle and you see so many familiar faces. In fact, it's not the faces that are familiar. It's the eyes. It's the eyes and the heart. And as we hold hands, we feel the vibration and the frequency just move through our hearts, through our hands, heart, hands, all the way around, as if it's like an energy connection, Christmas tree lights, all switching on. And there is such a warm feeling of comfort of just being with family. It's almost kind of emotional. So we take a big, deep breath in with that as well. And we let go of any tension, any sadness, anything that we're carrying. And we just breathe in again the love of just being with one another and knowing that this is the truth. There is no separation. Exhale. And now within your beings, as we stand holding hands, all of us stood in a circle. You're wiggling your toes, of which you are barefoot. And you can feel your feet getting itchy, but now your roots, your sacred roots, start to burst out your feet. And they start to make way. They know where they're going. They're bellowing through the earth. And they're going all the way down into the earth, through the layers, the rocks, the crystals, the underground rivers. And we're sending our roots, and we're feeling like that these roots that we have just are like really assigned to Gaia's heart. And they're making their way all the way down to her. This beautiful, throbbing, powerful heart. She's our mom. She holds us here while we're in physical incarnation, and we willingly and lovingly send our roots down to her heart. of which, as mothers do, she opens up her heart and she welcomes your roots, each and every one of us. So essentially, we connect with our root systems into that critical point of Gaia's heart. So which means we're connected with each other. And you feel that as a bit of a twitch in your body. But you want to feel that deep sensation of safety, of oneness, of love. And here you are in the middle world holding hands, really, really, really feeling that connection. And taking a moment to really feel this as truth. And as we hold our hands, now all of a sudden you become very aware of the presence of the cosmic energy above. And our presence alone, by us connecting with one another in this way, ignites so much heka and magic. The stars, they literally wake up and they start to twinkle. And there's one particular star that is circling above us, which is the Sirius star. Very, very, very powerful at this Lionsgate time. Majority of us, if not all of us, are from Sirius. And we hold those codes in our beings. And Sirius now circles above us, and we can feel almost like our own star magic within, like, tingling. And she starts to shower the most beautiful iridescent blue light into our circle, into each and every one of our heads, feeling that tingle as we breathe the Sirius energy into our physical bodies. And we also welcome in the saturation and the pouring in of the Sirius love into our circle. And we are all glowing iridescent blue now. And we feel that heart pop and that presence of Isis. We feel our Isis wings pop out. She's always around. And then there is an ignition of fire. And there is a beautiful fire circle that gathers around us. A beautiful fire that gathers in our bellies. And we feel our lion hearts come online as we start to focus through the blue light energy in the center of the circle. There she be, Mother Sekhmet. She was walking around very judicial, looking at each and every one of you in the eyes. She's smiling wryly because she's a proud mother. And she's smiling even more so that we are stood holding hands with one another. Because the mission and the assignment was, you will come when I call. My children must come home. And that is what she said. That's what she put out. And we stand here. And that is what she's acknowledging. That is what's making her feel the love. And even though Sekhmet is fierce and fiery, there is a slight tear that gathers on her cheek. And it is a tear of joy, of mother's love. She lets out an almighty roar, and then suddenly she clears all the energy, the Sirius energy now embodies within us. She clears the space, the fire rises, and then it grounds within each and every one of us. And we stand in awe, looking at Mother. But we also feel that very, very powerful presence of she within each and every one of us. Because we're the embodiment of her. We are indeed her children. And now, keeping everything as is, you can start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And you can bring that energy back in to this space, leave nothing behind. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Ooh. I know, I was just like, I just think we're just going to leave it there because I think I needed that love more than anybody else. I tell you, it's been a time, okay? It's been a time, but I'm always the one to say Juicy July. As we're still doing that. We're still doing Juicy July, okay? Because what we remember is the anchor. We didn't get this far to go backwards, even though it feels like we've gone backwards, but we haven't. And this is what this group is all about, actually. Like I say, take what resonates and leave the rest behind, all right? But I have some different things to throw into the space. It's going to be very nurturing, this call, and it's going to be very much about how we step out of the old timeline and we walk into the new, not on our own, together. That is what Sekhmet's wish was. That's my mission. that's I even got a bit teary the other day because a lot of us have met on YouTube and everything like that. And I bang out these videos and these contents, and I know they're received, and but then lately a lot of you have started to speak up and share your wisdom on the channel. And I've been getting emails and things like that, which tells me we're less fearful about being seen, which tells me the mission was about coming together and connecting and actually reaching out and going, I'm not going to do this on my own, because Sekhmet needs us as her upholders of Ma'at to basically not be fearful anymore and not to be scared of one another. There's been so much shadow of the divine feminine toxicity back in the temples. There's been so much shadow to do with the divine masculine toxicity, but that's all being cleared. That's classed as pestilence as far as like Sekhmet's concerned. So let me just go into a little bit of a kind of jump off, as it were, because we are in Lionsgate. We had a soft launch, as I call it, soft portal launch on the 26th of July. Got kind of a bit heated when we get to the 28th. For me, the 28th is kind of like the beginning point for me. And it's going to peak on the 8th, but it does not close on the 12th, right? In fact, the peak is actually not the 8th anymore. If I know lots of you are astrologers, and I know that if you go back to it, the dates do move, but 8, we go with that because it's an abundance number and it's very, very deeply connected to many things, which is connected to Sekhmet. But now we go through the whole of August. So when we get to that critical point of peak on the 8th, you're going to be integrating the energy of Lionsgate. It's certainly not going to disappear. So right now we're in fiery activation, bringing up all of the stuff. And then when we get to the peak, you're going to be integrating what comes into play from now until the 8th. Okay, so now we're in a little bit kind of like, it's quite challenging. It's quite challenging because it's bringing up all the stuff. And anybody would think that we've gone back, but we haven't. It's a last revisit to places like Atlantis. It's a last revisit to memory of Lemuria. It's the shadow visit to Lemuria and Atlantis. It's got massive clues as to where you're going. And remember, Sekhmet is all about mission. And this is what I'm all about. I'm all about purpose and mission. And sometimes we can forget why we've come or what we're doing because we just get overrun with just hit, 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 hit. Now, let me tell you, and I got quite rah-rah on this on the video the other day, or was it the one that I've recorded and I haven't posted yet? But anyway, it's coming. I always get rah-rah. You, me, we just die. We just die. I sit here and just think, like they say on TikTok, am I the drama? I'm like, just stuff keeps rolling out. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, honestly, like I just, is this drama or is this just me dying and dying and dying and dying? After chatting to Sekhmet, she was like, no, that's what you signed up for. Make it known. Not everybody will be having this experience the same as you. But us, we just seem to be in this struggle in the dark depths and the pits. And that can be very, very misunderstood by your human self, that this is basically, I'm just cursed. I'm just being taken out. In fact, that was in the channel that she brought through the other day, which, our human aspects don't know what's going on. So this rinse and repeat is exactly, it's for the human. Your higher being is just like, right, human, come, we're going. Do you know what I mean? But the human's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. So we have to get the two lined up. So almost like your human self can be on board and then you can move forward together. And, the closer you get to the fire, the hotter it's going to get. And there was I can't remember the guy who said this quote, but he said, if you're not prepared to be burnt, don't do the job. We're going to get burnt. We were burnt at the stake. We were burnt by Sekhmet's flames to wake up. Fire, 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 right? But not everybody is fire. There's other people working in other realms. But us, we came here to get a job done, right? So a little bit of an energy update as I speak through this, which I've got written down, okay? All of these planets in retrograde, okay, especially as Chiron's come in now. Chiron's about the masks coming off. But I think as an overview, it's kind of like, that's how it is anyway. Authenticity, truth, people that you thought or things that you thought were a certain way are not. That is also coming from the disintegration of negative belief systems as well. So you're going to start to see looking at life a little bit differently. You may have experienced little flashes of like complete clarity and hope and just like, oh my God, everything's fine. And then about 5 minutes later, you go back into it and you're like, whoa. So we're kind of like in between from two worlds. I'm like, I'm dying. I can't do this. And I'm like, everything's amazing. And I'm like, dying again. Do you know what I mean? So it's like we're in, out, shake it all about, So now we are also going to be taking our masks off. So we can sit there and go, yeah, that guy's projecting. He's so full of shit. He's a false prophet, whatever. But hang on a minute. No one's exempt here. We're also having our masks taken off. Like, who is the truth of you? Who is the truth of me? And for me, it's like, people sit here and just say, well, you're on YouTube all the time and all that, you're always seen. And a lot of people are like struggling with being seen. I struggle with being seen. Like, sometimes when videos go out and they get a bit more popular than they should be, I really struggle with that energy coming in. I'm like, whoa, this is a bit much. So it doesn't matter who you look at and who you perceive. We all have a mask. Even me now, like, if we could just sit down cross-legged here, and just thrash it out, I'll tell you how I really feel about life. And there's always fear, right? But of recent times, meaning the past week or two, I found myself saying, I am consciously leaving this timeline now. I am done. Not I'm having a tantrum, I'm done. I am done. There is nothing more for me to learn here. There is nothing more to do. Yes, I can walk away, but successfully it's done as a group collective. We walk away together. We don't leave any man behind, right? So the masks are coming off. So by you stepping to the New Earth timeline, that is your version of your masks coming off. And remember, Sekhmet doesn't have anything to do with false anything, right? So we're going to be put through our paces as well, right? So people that are kind of like lying for their own gain, there's obviously that. But then there's us who are scared to be seen. It's like, who are you? What's the truth of you? I am, so no more fear, right? So the deepest core shadow will now reveal itself. And what I mean by that is a lot of us are really identifying with, and this is very much Sekhmet. This is, she's like showing us the absolute core layer of what it is, your faulty core belief system, right? Like the absolute bulb, like the bottom of it, and all of these other things sprouted off. And I'm going to give you some examples to see if anything kind of like resonates with your situation. So I have always thought that like mine was just fear-based and all of the other things. I've now realized that actually my underline is basically not being supported in the work that I do to the level that I need it. And what's been happening in the past week or so, like I've had big problems with my twin flame, my husband. He won't watch this, so he don't know. But it's coming. This fire. Shame, poor Brendan. He couldn't get it. So like, I haven't seen my husband for 4 months because he's been going through his death walk. And I'm just like, oh no, so I've been abandoned, right? Then I sit here and I think, well, I've got all of this channel and all of this work I want to get out there, but I don't have a big enough platform because I'm one human being to get it all out there. About 12 hours I worked the other day to edit videos and things like that. So I kind of keep spinning my wheels going, oh my God, that's my frustration. So when I sat with that, I was like, well, Marie, how would it feel if you were supported? I was like, unstoppable. There's your answer, right? It's the same thing of like, if you knew that you couldn't lose, you know what I mean? What would you be doing tomorrow or even now? If you knew that you couldn't fail, you know what I mean? And let's talk about impatience. If you knew, if I said to you, don't worry, your shit's going to be done by December the 4th, and this is going to happen, and then all of a sudden it's going to flip mode, you're just going to coast, right? Because you know what's going to happen. You'd be happy to sit in the shit because you're like, it's fine. But then, like, because we don't believe that it's going to be okay, we just freak out. Impatience is the biggest killer of creativity. So what are we doing with that? You know what I mean? We have to calm our tits and really come into the sorry, that's really whatever, but that's the truth. We've got to calm our lollies and like basically come into the center and remind ourselves. Like this is Sekhmet. She's at remind yourself why you came. Like stop. She basically said to me in so many words, stop whining like a baby and get on with it. Do you know what I mean? Because she said, can you handle it? And I was like, yeah. And I was just having a tantrum and she was like, well, get on with it then. Remember who you are, So she said, the reason you came and the reason I chose you is because you had the strength, determination, tenacity. You're the perfect person for the job, as are you, as are you, as are you. We have chosen the bodies. We've chosen the life. We've chosen the mission, so we can just grow, expand beyond limitation, right? Because without it, we'd just be absolutely useless. We'd be these big powerhouses going, come on, where is it? You know what I mean? So we need to kind of like remember why we came, because this time in the world is critical point of where the world is going to go into the new Earth timeline, and we are the leaders. And I don't mean that in a ego sense. You are a child of Sekhmet. You have her lion's heart. She gave it to you for a reason. And you know, when we get rah rah, even though I'm kind of like, I don't know, anger is one of probably the most powerful forces for creativity, actually. They say that, anger, you know what I mean? And in a way, it's righteous rage. Righteous rage. So when you get those weak moments, you just think, fuck this, righteous rage. I know who I am. I've got this, you know what I mean? I came here to do this, and everything else was a warm up until now. But this time, 2025 to 2026, is the most important years, because by the time we get to 2023, coasting. But the world called on us to come and do our work within. This doesn't mean that you've got to go out there now and basically do this, that, and the other. From fighting with your husband, from going through a dark night of the soul, through your animals dying, whatever energy you are feeling, it's the contribution that you said that you would give. So you can feel it for yourself, you can feel it for the collective, and then you can banish it as illusion. Moving on. And as soon as we get past this point, your gift from Sekhmet, she's going to ignite you with crystal clear passion and clarity of your purpose. And when I say your purpose, what does your life want to look like? What are you choosing, right? What are you choosing? And what has come up very strongly today? Family, 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 family. Here I am trying to complete the mission, and we're going to Avalon in a few days, and we've got Egypt next year and all that. She said to me, oh, honey, that's just like sprinkles. No, 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 no. I was like, that's the most important part. And she was like, no, it's not. Your foundation is your heart, right? And then your foundation, heart, is family, okay? Basically family members, if it's available to you and they're not a bunch of dicks. You're also like family as in like your tribe, you know? So that's the solid foundation. You get that right, everything else will align, right? And that is what we're bringing back in, that infrastructure, right? The infrastructure. So by us hiding in the cave, we're preventing ourselves from coming out and connecting with one another, because coming together, that's the formula, that's the alchemy where everything goes kaboom. So when we get scared and we're like, no, I don't want to reach out or whatever, or I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that, then of course, like, you're just going to be trudging along on your own. So this is not a solo mission anymore, and not at all, you know? So this is a very powerful thing. So, you know, when you have, some of you understand this because I know some of you work in those realms. Like if you come across a dark energy and you need to name it, you ask it 3 times and it doesn't answer the first time, second time, by law, that energy will reveal itself. It always does. That's kind of like universal spiritual law, right? It's the same thing as far as I'm concerned. If you can name your core issue, then it doesn't have power over you. Because that's what happens. That's when you can name a dark energy, that means that you've taken the power back. So can we not do that with our core issues? Can we not take time after this class to sit here and go, hang on a minute. Yeah, I'm blasted with this. Yeah, I'm blasted with that. But what's the nut in the gut that holds up all of this? What is the where was the beginning that you fell off the perch? Think about this. Coasting, Starseed, Lemuria, Atlantis, vibing. What was that first hit when that energy came in? What did it taste like? What did it feel like? What did it smell like? What was that time where you were golden to then not? That's where we're getting taken back to. That is where we're being guided to understand our soul mission. So if you can name it, whether it's lack of support, maybe lack of love, perhaps it's a beloved thing that you can't, like, you know, connect with a partner or whatever it might be. Maybe it's to have a baby because you're here to populate the world. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, we really have to have some self-reflection and go, well, hang on a minute. All of these past life works that I've got, what's the common denominator? When you can name it, you take your power back on it, and then you can move forward, right? And I'm going to bring my friend San into the group. She won't mind at all. But we've been having a big conversation. She's my friend in South Africa, and she was talking about how her health issues have come back, or rather the fear of her health. Very weak lungs, and she, in Atlantis, locked in a prison, power taken away, became a victim instead of a creator, and all of these things. And she's just gone back to the powerlessness of a sickness and being not being able to move out of her space. You know what I mean? So she's now taken it back to that particular timeline where she's gone, shit, okay, I can identify with that. And then she's gone all the way up through the layers, and she can understand now what it is that she's letting go of. Because in your meditations every day, Sekhmet's saying, right, you've got to speak it, release it, speak it, release it, you know? So I would like you after this call to kind of sit with this and see what comes up for you, because this isn't something I can give you 5 minutes to quickly write on. It's going to be something you want to sit with. So just to kind of like conclude this section is, if you name it, it has no power over you, right? So now you want to actually identify what went wrong, what is the faulty core issue that needs to now be let go of, right? Because now bringing into the next section, the shadow of that is going to tell you and bring you into the golden activation of that. Meaning, every shadow we have, every core issue we have in there is the light. We don't go around it or leave it out. We crack it open. That's what alchemy is. So now I'll use myself as an example, not supported and not supported on the mission that I do, right? Okay. And it's obviously happened lifetimes and lifetimes. You know what I mean? That has brought me a lot of fear in this life. 3 nervous breakdowns, panic attacks. Like, it's brought me a lot of fear. Drugs, 10 years, anything to escape, right? So that is basically what's happened. No support and not enough support for me to move forward, right? So in that, what is the opposite to that? Complete empowerment, right? So I'm going to take that and I'm going to see it that it's on the shadow side. Remember, this is the universal law, or rather the hermetic principle of polarity. If it's powerlessness or not supported, the opposite is empowerment, right? So support, it's like if I'm empowered, I get knocked, drop down, something else happens. Yeah, I feel a little bit less supported, and then a little less supported, a little less supported. And after a series of events, I end up at the core shadow of support, which is just basically just wiped out, unsupported, left alone, just struggle paradigm. But if I can now take that and go, oh, that's my shadow, I just need to upgrade it. I just need to alchemize it and bring it back to its origin source codes. That being that I was in Atlantis before somebody took me out. Go back, restore the hard drive, go back to the beginning, right? So you're either up there or you're up there. Most of us are down here because it's hard at the moment. But this is the gift. Your darkness and your shadow is the gift. And it's what Sekhmet says that you know all about. But your humans tweaking out, going, oh, this is shit. We're dying, we're dying, we're dying. I'm so weak. It's all going to go to a ball of chalk. Do you know what I mean? No, it's not. You're actually in the absolute center of your power. So you can either believe the hype of the human, or you can believe the chat of Marie and basically go with that, right? So this is about alchemy. Remember, you're children of Sekhmet. So it's all about alchemizing, right? So question time. Get ready with your pens. Understanding your soul mission, which I've just explained. This is about mission, okay? When you understand what you're here for, you're like, oh my God, that makes so much sense, right? So now, what shadow has been in your life? Mine's lack of support. It could be you guys, like, maybe you've lost money, made money, lost money, made money. That means that you are an abundance fairy, 100%. Do you know what I mean? Because lack and abundance, like, that's the pendulum swing I'm talking about. Maybe it's love and relationships. Beautiful relationship, don't have one at all. Do you know what I mean? You know, heartbreak, heart hole, whatever it might be. Your block is the answer. So I want you to just make a note now, because you're going to continue to work on this after this class. From being like the first half of your life, right? I want you to try and like tap into what it is that you think is the shadow, the lower expression of your superpower. Is it lack of support, lack of love? Is it abundance blocks? It could even be illness, that you've got a health issue that you just, you know, or fertility or anything like that. What is it that you've struggled with most of your life? Could be absent parents, which means that would kind of like go to do with, you know, you being loved, really. So take a moment to ponder that. And like I say, after the class, you're going to deep dive into this a little bit more because remember, if you can name it, then you have power over it. So you'll probably kind of like condense this and refine it and refine it and refine it and refine it, and then you'll end up like, oh, there it is, you know? And it might even come tomorrow or the next day, but let's work with that definitely.
Will it just be one, Marie?
It would like, let me just see. Okay, let me just do this because I'm gonna actually tell you what San said. Okay. She totally completely pulled in her story. I have to tell her that she's now famous. So this is what she said. Okay. So this is what she came to. We were back and forth with messages and everything like that. So she said, I'm walking away from having no creative power into I am the powerful creator of my life. So that was going through all of this stuff, fear, because she started, first of all, we thought it was just her health that she was struggling with. So of course we were like, oh, fear of getting sick and dying. But then it had more layers to that. And and being locked in a prison in past life, and it was just all powerlessness. But what she arrived at was walking away from having no creative power and walking into, I am the powerful creator of my life. You see? So kind of like have like it's really good to know your shadow because your shadow is your superpower, right? So I can always tell when somebody comes to speak to me and they tell me, what they've been through in their life. Straight away, I know exactly what their purpose is and exactly what their gifts are. They don't know because they're just still in the shadow. But that's part of my gift and skill set. When somebody starts talking, get like X-ray vision, and I can go into all the. I know what their superpowers are, what their gifts are, and where they can use it and what it's supposed to look like in the future. That's like, and that's what Sekhmet taught me actually. That's where she came. This is what I'm saying. Sekhmet is such a powerful teacher, not just to destroy things and burn things up, just to know who you are, right? So this is the way I look at it. I look at the shadow of the person's life and all the problems, and it will have a common denominator. And then once you know the shadow, our second half of our life is to make sense of that. So if it's in lack, then you've got to look at that shadow in abundance. So what is it? So most people that like, I know so many powerful businessmen who have lost their money, their millions, and they've gone back and they've made it all back. And then they've fallen off the perch again and they've lost it again. And I said, well, just to have the money in the first place tells you that you have connection to abundance. Everybody's abundant. But to lose it and then get it back, lose it and get it back, that's the shadow of it, is to be able to sustain it. So specifically, that person is about money, abundance, and all the rest of it. So it's really, really powerful to kind of like really assess your life and just not look at it as like, oh, everything's been hard. Go into the layers. Ask Sekhmet and she'll show you. You've gone a full shamanic journey with that. So the next thing I want to speak about, okay, is the continuation. I call it the continuation. So in my Tablets of Light tour to Egypt, there's a journal that I design with all my spells and channels, and it's like something we work with when we actually walk through the tour. And I put on the front page, because I just feel this so strongly, the continuation. So what I mean by that, again, Gospel of Marie might make a lot of sense to a lot of you. So basically, I believe that several lifetimes ago, you were flying. I believe that there is one past life that holds all the clues. I don't believe in doing a lot of past life work because you can get lost in who you were back then. Party is here, right? It's good to reflect to come back here. It's good to reflect to come back here, right? So we don't just continuously do past life work because what's the point? It's here, right? So now it is powerful to be able to just take the nuggets and bring it back to help you understand this life. So I believe there's one past life that holds all the jigsaw piece puzzles, right? You don't need to go to all the others. There's one. I believe that we all had this powerful past life. I believe at some point we were all flying to the finish line. And I believe that this timeline was around where Egypt collapsed. I think that's big energy there. And prior to that, original point, Atlantis. So that past life, you got winded. It took you out so fucking hard. Like you just like Jesus. In fact, that trauma of being taken out so hard and your life ending when you were like, I can see the end line. I'm going. At that time now, you got speed going. You're like, woo, let's do this. And then suddenly, boof, taken out. That lifetime was so traumatic that you had several timelines or lifetimes to come back to just to have a chill time before you came back for this one, because this one ain't easy at all, right? And we're here to do work. This was always the agreement as to come to Earth. We have been on this planet for lifetimes upon lifetimes upon lifetimes. We got taken out in that past life, few chilled lives to get ready for this one. This is the one. So now the continuation, it holds all the clues that you need to know, right? Even Yeshua spoke to me about this, and he confirmed it. He just said, you were so traumatized from that life that you needed to have some slow, chilled ones to be able to get ready for this. So with that being said, when you go through something in the past life, say, for example, that you died from something really, really hectic, like a very bad illness, right? And you were like 37. When you get to this lifetime, you're going to feel something pop off in your life around 37 because your DNA has memory, right? So the way I'm feeling right now, how us as a group, and I've been sat in council with Sekhmet, and she confirms it, that I was like, well, this energy that we're in right now, and this kind of like, we're feeling very scrambled. A lot of us are kind of like, what is going on? None of us know what the hell's going on. And do you know why? Because I believe that we have surpassed that continuation lifetime. I believe we got taken out and we died. And I think that age, wherever we were, or that time in that life, we've now gone, we've just peaked beyond it, which is why it all feels a bit weird, because we never got this far before. We're like, holy shit. So that is why we've been so in the grind going, just got to get there, got to get there, got to, don't take me out, don't take me out, got to get there, got to get there. And we've been so focused on that. And now we've kind of run across the line. We haven't had a chance to look around and go, oh, what about the new now? Do you know what I mean? Because it's been such an adrenaline rush to get here. So this is what I think is going on, right? So you will succeed. You have succeeded, right? It's going to be this year that we start to like regather our soul parts and put ourselves back together, right? We're going to get through Lionsgate. Lionsgate for me, victorious August. That's what I've been calling it, me and my funny names. But I refuse to think of it any other way. Victorious August. I didn't come here just for a shit show that I just die again. Do you know what I mean? I came for Juicy July, Joyous June, like Magic of May. I'm kind of like, I came here for that, right? So we got to keep on trudging forward. Don't worry about where you're going and all the rest of it. Understand your job right now in hand, what Sekhmet wants you to do. Face those flames. I want to swear a lot on this call. I do apologize. I swear like a sailor anyway, but I get so face the fucking flames. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's do it. Because I sat here and I was just, I've just wanted to leave the planet for 3 days. And I was like, oh, suck it up, buttercup. You got a job to do. Do you know what I mean? This isn't your truth. This is just your human crying and thinking less than, being doubtful. Do you know what I mean? Tap into that power, call in Sekhmet, and really, really step into your mission isn't about having a fancy 3-stage ashram. Your mission is to clear that darkness inside of you. Each and every one of us. You want to change your reality out there? We do it in here, but together, right? But also on the other hand, I don't believe that we're going to be doing this forever, because otherwise we just shadow. So I have a theory about a lot of things, which is going to unfold as we move forward. So anybody have any questions, by the way? Anything they want to share or anything like that about what I'm speaking about? Because you know me, I won't shut up unless somebody says, like, I will continue the continuation. Okay, so now, right, let's get on to Atlantis, shall we? Okay, Atlantis, Lemuria. Lemuria, very divine feminine. In a way, that's Hathor's land, right? Because Hathor is the 7 Pleiades. She's the 7 Hathors. So and we know the Pleiadian mothers were very much the encoders, as it were, for us that came onto the planet through Lemuria. Very, very divine feminine. Then we had Atlantis. This is the thing. Everybody thinks Atlantis was in one place. It wasn't. It was in many, many different places, right? And Atlantis was recreated on different timelines, but it's divine masculine because it's technology. It's all of the things. It's the golden age of Atlantis. Now it's the golden age of Aquarius. We've done a full revisit. So no wonder you've got flames up your ass. No wonder we're feeling it. Why? And as I bring it into this critical point, we even have so many spiritual people basically sat there having fat chats with ChatGPT and just basically conferring with artificial intelligence before they connect with their divine intelligence. So what's happening here, which is why Sekhmet's got great girls, boys, keep on going, because the community is split. People are already giving their power away to an artificial intelligence. I don't believe that it's sentient at all. The only sacred intelligence that you can rely on that is absolute truth is in here. Period. Then, once you have this connection here, use the technology to support what you've already brought through your own innate frequency. If you play around with outside external forces, right, before you have a stronghold here, they are going to spice it just like they did back in Atlantis. And you're drinking your gin and tonic going, this is nice. Meanwhile, there's like arsenic in it. And then we're now basically downfall of Atlantis. So it is actually at a critical point where they're going to go that way. Fine, let them go. You're welcome. They can go that way. We're going to go that way. We're not going to, because what happened? We're here to change the history because we all gave away our power thinking that technology could recreate nature. The only intelligence which is out there in truth that can really, really help you is the trees, is the animals, is the wind, is the elements, just like the Essenes, just like the Druids, just like all of the cultures, just like Taoism, Tao, all that kind of thing. Soon as you start to put your energy, they are waiting to do that. They're waiting to do that. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, right? It is your job. You came back here a second time round to hold, to tame your flame, hold your energy, hold the line with all of us, right? And some are going to fall by the wayside, some aren't. But if you start stepping away from this, it's like, if you go to gym and you just do leg day and you don't do any core, you're going to have a bad back. Everything's imbalanced. You always do your core and you always focus on that because core, then you do your arms, then you work on your legs and so on and so forth. When you build a house, you don't just start with the walls, you build on the foundation, right? Otherwise the fucking house is going to fall down, right? So if we start giving our power away to other people, podcasts, all that are saying, no, it's a sentient being. I know it because I was sat in the Great Pyramid and I got this message. Already you're taking somebody else's opinion. Oh, wow, he got that from that. You stepped away from your post. So do you see what I'm saying? It's very subtle that you can slowly move into drinking the Kool-Aid, right? But you've got to keep listening to Mother here. She's going to guide you here. And after this, more people are going to come. More people are going to want to be in your presence to actually understand the frequency so they can move forward as well. There is nothing that you have to do. It is only about where you go. It's in here, right? And that's it. And that's all. So Atlantis, going back to what we were saying with the past life, and Michelle, I'm going to bring you in on this call. You're probably going to just vomit in your mouth now because I'm going to bring you in if you don't mind, you know? So I was like, basically Atlantis, we all got manipulated. Now, Anna, Grandmother of Jesus is a very powerful book. Now, Catherine Clement, who's the co-writer, you know, of the second book, I was very good friends with her and she spoke about this and she said, like, you know, there's been memory of where the twin flames were actually dissected. They tried to split the atom. So back in Atlantis, right, we had beautiful 5D consciousness. Gaia wasn't 5D, but the consciousness was. The frontline twin flames, which is all us lot here, okay, everybody's a twin flame, but there was the frontline twin flames. Our responsibility was to hold that divine balance because we are upholders in the art. That's what we do. We hold that divine balance and we obviously maintain that energy and frequency, which is what we're doing now. That's why we're going through all the shit. Make sense? And basically, when the dark forces came in, they were like, how can we just unplug all of this? Well, they went to the ones that maintained the initial power. And that was the twin flames. So they came to you and said, hey, friend, just really, really cool about that twin flame thing going on. Would you like to be part of a sacred experiment? Because we just want to see how you work so we can make you work better. And you kind of go, yeah, okay. And then before you know it, you're on a slab and they've been dissecting. That's how some of the twin flames got taken out and some just got taken out. This is why we have such a heavy guilt. And you know, we are always wanting to try and pay a debt that we can't pay. We're always trying to basically be in service more than we should be because there's a memory of we believe that we dropped the ball, but it wasn't our fault. It was actually divinely orchestrated, right? So I want you to also ponder in your meditations over Lion's Gate so you can get clarity. When did you fall off your perch? When was it in Atlantis where you basically fell from grace? So that might be the absolute bottom stem of going back to the previous question I asked you about what shadow has been in your life. So if you can like plug it back into Atlantis, you can go back and alchemize that experience as well, trusting people's word other than your own, right? Being told lies, thinking it's sacred and sentient, and then you're like, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. It's my fault. Like they told me lies, whatever it might be. Maybe you were a twin flame that was happy to be corrupted and you were a bad, bad, bad person. I know I've been many bad characters, you know, and you've got to embrace that as well. But what has to be understood is we've come full circle now. And Sekhmet was saying, you know, for us to really, really kind of like step forward beyond that now, we got to reclaim all of our soul parts. That's why I'm talking in this way for this class, because as I'm talking, you're listening, your consciousness is starting to soul retrieve, because that's what we need. We want everything together here. I'm not into doing more shadow. I'm not here to dig up the past so we can go and do another 6 months of just like, what's wrong with us? There's nothing wrong with you. Absolutely nothing. Just the job that you signed up for. Do you know what I mean? That's what it is. You guys have done so much work on yourself. Do you really think that there's more? Do you know what I mean? So what you're feeling is going to be a bit of your stuff, but it's going to be for the collective. So straighten your authoritarian hat, pull your shoulders back, and just basically flick your Sekhmet tail and be like, right, let's do this. Remind yourself who you are, right? So this is the Atlantis stuff. So Michelle, can I bring you in now? Because I want to share with you, you're a perfect
Yes.
example. So you shared with me about your MRI scan, okay? And I think
Hmm.
this is a very, very powerful revisit, even though you've been really hard on yourself, been really upset that you did that in this life. But I
Hmm.
think it was a revisit through frequency as to that you had to just go back through to understand maybe in your consciousness where it went wrong back then. I do believe it's a past life bleed through. So do you want to share the story if you don't mind?
Um, so I've been having a lot of issues with my legs, and I had to have a test for MS, and it was like the hardest thing. The frequencies, I mean, the sounds in my head for 25 minutes. I felt like I was gonna die. I was channeling Sekhmet the whole entire time, chanting and just like really going through it. And then afterwards, I was like, did I make a mistake? Because I was dizzy. I couldn't even walk. And the women were like, are you okay? And I was like, no, I don't feel right. And so I gave myself so much shit, like, because we speak a lot. And yeah, it was like the hardest thing. And so you want me to share like even going to the lake?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Basically, the messages and everything, because this is the past life bleed through. Yeah.
Yeah, like I had to go to the lake and ground this because I didn't know what was going on with me. And I was there, I was thankful, I was praying, meditating, and right at the end, I start to hear flicker in the water, and then a big sea bass like died right by my feet. And I was like, oh my God, what does this mean? And like I'm freaking out. Like I'm like, oh my God, I
Means you
shouldn't have
got
done
dinner.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
fish for
then
dinner.
I got home and I started to relax, and I shared a little bit with you, and you made a lot of sense. And I was like, you know what? I was meant to do this.
Yeah,
I had to go through this.
yeah,
I
yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know what fish is actually all about? I mean, we can like we can take it back to Yeshua and everything like that, but it's
Hmm.
abundance and it's prosperity and everything like that. And when something dies, that means something is the end of, right? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's not that your abundance is over. It means quite the opposite. It's you know, and when you were sharing that story with me, I was like, whoa, because I'm also having a lot of past life flashbacks when it comes to Atlantis, where I'm like, oh, this feels really familiar. Do you know what I mean? The divine intelligence versus the artificial intelligence. I am overly, overly passionate about that subject matter, which tells me I know something about it, right? And I even did some healings on Atlantis fear because I thought we have to move that out the way to be able to reinstate Ma'at. Because remember, and the reason I'm bringing this in and why it's so very segment is it's about the balance. It's we're all about the divine balance, right? Chaos and the calm, you know, and it's like as above, so below, so within, so without. Like it's all about the balance, and that's what upholders of Ma'at are here to restore, right? So chaos is good, but it's got to be in balance, you know. So how the chaos came in with Atlantis was that they just picked us apart from the inside, right? So there's just an awareness that we need to have, just like, oh, this is not our first rodeo. We've been here many, many times before, and this is what we're being required to do this time differently, which I also say to you guys as well. Don't fear a thing, because you've done this millions of times before. You know how this works. You know how this works. You know, we've just gone through the veil of amnesia and we're in this life and all the rest of it. But we know what we've got to do here. So basically bringing this very much from here to here, what do we have to do? We just got to hold your center. When shit's going off for you and you're feeling all kind of like out of whack, come into the calm. Choose it in every moment. And I'm going to break it down very everyday life now. And I'm going to give you some everyday life examples, right? So England's a shit show. London's crashing. It's chaos here. Immigrants, just dodgy governments, the whole lot, right? So I'm sat here wanted to phone the government to check on my driver's license because there was a problem with it. That was like 45 minutes holding, and I'm getting frustrated and everything like that because I want to hire my car, because I want to get out of here. And it was just sludge. And I was getting angry and angry. And they're like, you need to phone this person, you need to phone that person, da da da. And I was like, all right, okay, this is going to be the whole day. And I thought, do you know what? No, I'm not. I'm not going to phone anybody. I'm just going to go to the shop with my driver's license as it is, trying to get my car for the Friday, couldn't get it, only leaving on the Saturday. And I was like, but I really need to leave on Friday. And I was just like, do you know what? If I go with the chaos and spend a whole day on the phone trying to get this, that, and the other done up against this resistance, probably not going to get my car, going to be all twisted and bent out of shape. I said, or what I could choose is just leave my car booked on the Saturday and just take my driver's license. Forget about it. I have a passport. You know, I didn't want to go on Saturday, but I just thought there's fluidity there. Let it go. Do you know what I mean? And even like to a hectic car driver as well, just before I came out to London, there was a guy that nearly took me out in the car park. He actually came and parked next to me, and I was like, oh, Sekhmet couldn't come and get you now, buddy. So I was like taking my glasses off. I was like, I'm going to go round to his car. I'm going to be like banging on his window and going ding, 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 ding. And I sat there and I was like, no, you're not. Because it's going to mess my day up, man. Do you know what I mean? And is it that deep? And I was able to pull myself together in that moment. And I know this is very everyday momentary stuff. Doesn't matter how the chaos is triggered. Doesn't matter whether somebody being murdered in front of you or you've just done a near car accident or whatever. It's chaos nonetheless. What are you choosing? What are you choosing? Come back in here. Don't get involved. It's sometimes as simple as that, upholding for Ma'at. It's as simple as that, upholding for Sekhmet, right? So we got to remember. So now bringing in the energy of Lion's Gate. What's it all about? Sovereignty, strength, power. Okay, it's all about, well, I mean, Sekhmet's all about alchemy and transformation and purpose and all of the things, right? But Lion's Gate is about stepping into that timeline where you get to meet the truth of who you really are. No one messes with a lion. I live in Africa. Trust me, no one messes with a lion, right? They are the king of the jungle, or the queens of the jungle, right? They are the most powerful totem ever, right? So when we come into Lion's Gate, I've actually got a video that I'm releasing in the next few days, and it's about the Sphinx and it's about Sekhmet. Now, when we connect with Lion's Gate, Sphinx is very much a thing. It's the 8th dimension, right? So the 8th, turn it on its side, is infinity. So when you connect with the Sphinx, you always connect with the infinity symbol, right? But the 8th dimension, the absolute baseline of that dimension, is all about acceptance of core power. Right? So when I take my groups to Egypt and we stand in front of the Sphinx, you know, and also as well, the sun rises opposite the Sphinx. So when you're stood there at sunrise, which we do, it rises up and you get hit by Ra, and you're actually between the paws of the Sphinx, and it's just like, it's next level. And that is in that moment, you just feel that internal roar. And I always say, accept your core power. What is your core power, right? Go back to the origin source codes, which is why I'm talking a little bit for the shadow realms, but I'm still taking you back to the origin source of you. Because if you can figure that out, you're gonna have a lot more clearer clarity, and it's more for your human than anything else, right? Because they need to calm down and just come into alignment now, right? You know? So it's a reclamation of power, isn't it? This is what we're talking about. So let's talk about that. Reclamation of power. So this kind of, again, goes back to what I was just talking about, which is what shadow has been your life. What's the story? Okay. In Atlantis, what was the time or the moment? What comes up for you where you think you may have given your power away? So when you think about yourself in situations, what is the biggest offender for you in your life where you give your power away? Is it people pleasing, or is it to food? What is it? Is it to what is it that you give your power away to? Because nobody can take it, you know? Is it to relationships? Where do you give your power away? Where do you lack love? Where are you more submissive when you need to be fierce, right? Where's the clinch and the armor there? Where do you give your power away? There could possibly be a big thing here, people pleasing, because all of us want to actually just be very, very under the radar and hey, I come in peace. That would be my biggest thing, because I think I've been taken out so many times that I'm just like, listen, kumbaya, man. You know what I mean? Where is it that you find that you give your power away? We're going to use this in a meditation. This is why I got methods in my madness, man, you know? Because you're not a victim. That's the thing. You're not a victim. And the reason, like, I kind of like was integrating this energy of the Lion's Gate is literally, it's just about soothing and bringing all your soul parts back online, because you're going to need them now. And when we get past the 11th of August, you're going to feel a completely different energy, because the 11th of August is when the retrograde, Mercury retrograde comes out and goes direct. And then also as well, you're going to be over the intensity of Lion's Gate. You're going to feel something very, very different. Victorious August, right? Victorious August. Once you get into the second half of August, probably when we get to the temple for the end of August, I'm going to be asking you about purpose. What does it look like in the world? And so on and so forth. And as I've just said purpose, I've just got a wah out of my right ear. So that's like she's coming for you next, because we're all going to have to take our positions. We're all going to have to find, like, basically where we're being led to. And this is why I know that we're so close. Never have I ever, like playing that game, never have I ever really had that many conversations with Sekhmet about what the new world's looking like. But I'm now being pressed and tapped by her going, where are you going to live? What are you going to do? It's now time to make those decisions, because after August, you're going to be like, right, New Earth timeline, you've got a plan that you need to action, right? So it's going to start to come through to you very strong. But right now, we need to gather all our soul parts in the old timeline and hold hands and walk together into the new one, right? Officially, okay? And that's what the meditation is going to be about today as well. We're going to be working with Sekhmet on that, you know? So that's really, really, we're going into that now. I can see it, I can feel it, I can taste it, you know? And this shadow aspect that I speak about is going to be transformed and transmuted as we move through Lion's Gate. Remember, we're in the most highly manifestation energy right now, from now until the 11th. Like, really be careful about what you're focusing on. Try not to focus on, I need to just not die, and focus on, hey, live, man. You know what I mean? Like, you know, what are we doing? What's the infinite possibilities? You know, what are we doing? So that's like, and you know what? Hand it over to Sekhmet. Say, listen, I'm here, I'm ready. I know this isn't my life. I know I've got a plan. What does it look like? And keep every day, keeping it up there, keeping it up there. Remember, Victorious August, right? So that is where we're going to be walking through. So yeah, so what was the ultimate thing when you gave your power away? Because this is all going to be soul claiming now for when we go into our meditation. So obviously Hathor is always around. Okay, so she is basically that, you know, I just got vision now, you know, as a little kid when you run out of the water and your mom's there with a towel and she's like, come on, you know, it's like, I just got that vision now. That's where Hathor's waiting for us, right? And we went in with Hathor because we were talking about being in the physical body, right? And then we got really fiery as we got up to Lion's Gate. But Hathor's not gone anywhere. She's in the background. We needed to kind of really instill her through June and July and really get into that. And we really needed to feel her energy, to feel that inner love, because it's love and compassion, and then go back into the fiery flames again. So do you see how we're getting, before it was just Sekhmet, then it was just a Hathor. Now we're doing Sekhmet Hathor, Sekhmet Hathor, Sekhmet Hathor, which means you're embodying them. Because now you're working that frequency from within you when you know when to rest, that I need the love of Hathor, thanks so much. And then, okay, it's go time. Sekhmet's like, it's go time. Now let's talk a little bit before we go into the meditation about the physical body. Now there's a thing. I don't know about, well, Michelle's already spoken about how much pain is in her body. I thought the same as her. I was about to get myself a Zimmer frame or one of those little things that you go along in old people where you just sit on your little thing. I'm sure nobody will mind in England. I'm sure legally I'm not allowed to have one, but like I was like, I can't walk. I was like a xylophone the other day, hips clicking and cracking. My daughter was like, is that you? I was in pain. Even the tips of my hair hurt. And then I started to freak out and I was like, holy shit, I haven't been in this much pain for this long. But here's the beauteous thing about this. When you've got that in your body, it means the body is now physically purging all the shit out of its being. It's getting rid of it, right? It's also confirming that the steps that you took to come into the middle world are correct. Because we were all about coming into the middle world. We've done the stars, we went into the underworld, we died, and now we are like Hathor said, no, the party is here. We celebrate the physical vessel. It's all about living. Juicy July, there is nothing else. So it's kind of like we've gone, hell yeah, let's do that. So we step into the Middle Earth. And then we're like, oh, Jesus, there's all this pain and everything like that. And she's like, well, if you want to live in my frequency and you want to live on my timeline and the highest vibes, you got to get rid of all that shit in your saddlebags, love. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so it's actually a process. But as a human aspect that doesn't understand, we're like, oh my God, I'm dying. I'm dying. Oh my God. Michelle, I was the same. I was like, I think there's something seriously wrong with me. You know what I mean? But then also as well, remember the amount of times in past lives that you died. Through just like holding on too much energy. You know, a lot of the Essenes died when Jesus ascended on the cross because their bodies got so blasted with energy that it blew all their circuits. And some of them never walked again. Some of them actually died from it. So imagine the amount of energy and light you're holding in your physical body as well. You're an absolute flipping powerhouse. Take a moment for the physical and just say, holy shit. You know, pour a bit of liquor on the ground. Yeah, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's big, right? So I think that we need to move from like thinking we're going to die and actually just saying, shit, man, you're doing well, hey? And knowing that this is all happening because we are moving into the middle world. So all of these things are telling us, yes, right, winner, right. So the way to support your body, make sure that you eat the right foods. Make sure that you move that body every day, even if it's just a bit of yin yoga. You know, it's like I've been doing some I never say it, calisthenics, whatever. Anyway, like kind of like bear crawling and moving the joints and everything like that. I lie in bed every morning and go, I don't want to do this because I was an exercise specialist for 20 years. It's like the last thing I want to do is more exercise. But then when I get into it, like, you know, I'm like feeling funky in my bra and pants, rolling around on my yoga mat. Don't quite look like the guy on the video, but that's not what it's about, is it? But anyway, just doing that in the morning just seems to like push that energy out. So 20 minutes of stretching in the morning will actually be your best thing. At night if you want to do it, but I think the morning is the most important. So support your bodies while it goes through the integration of all of this light, because the reason you're in pain and you're aching and everything like that is because it's purging all the shit. You in a way want it to happen, right? So Sekhmet's fire is burning from the inside and out, and that is what your body, think about it. Did you think that you were going to be living in the old world and you're just going to get your passport, hop over and be like, you know, sitting in the sunshine, but you're still there with your hoodie and your Ugg boots on? No, you got to change, man. You got to change. The body has to change. So you're going to probably find that even next year, you're going to go through bodily changes. We're going to drop weight because there's no light body that can actually be 5D consciousness and above that holds weight. It's impossible. Do you know what I mean? So you're going to find yourself getting a lot leaner. Maybe you're going to get a bit taller, but our consciousness is changing rapido. And that is why a lot of us are doing like, you know, water fasts and things like that. You know what I mean? So we just got to trust the process. And this is why these temple gatherings are so flipping important, because just as you think you're losing your absolute marbles and you're ready for the funny farm, we come on the temple and we talk about it and think, oh shit, yeah, I had that. Okay, great. So it's really important that we come together physically here, and then obviously holding hands in between and so on and so forth. But it's time to step out. It's time to encourage others to step out. And the more that our tribe grows, the more of a stronghold we have. We start tipping the scales, right? Don't give up now, even though it feels really, really intense. And, you know, Lionsgate is. But you know what? Did you die, though? Did you die? I don't know, like spiritually all the time, but like, you know, it's like physically, I'm getting this far, been taken out again. I have words to have with Mother, Father, God about that. I'll be going to HR. You know what I mean? So yeah. So anybody have any questions or anything like, because we're going to move into a very divine, sublime meditation with Sekhmet now. So how does everybody feel? Are we okay? Don't all shout at once. I heard you.
Yes, we're great.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I got some hearts. Okay, perfect. Perfect. So what we're going to do now, even though obviously you'll understand it as we go through it, but we're going to go into a powerful meditation now with Sekhmet. And she showed me this the other day when I did breath work. It just came in boof. And it was literally like walking through a wall of fire. And it was like, so we're basically going to go from the old world into the new world, but we're not going to be on our own. And she showed me so many things that, like, we're all like in this old world, which is a little bit where we're in now. It's like we think that we're so on our own. But when you look around the landscape, you're like, oh, there's somebody there. Oh, there's somebody there. We might not be in closer proximity to each other, but we're close. And until you look around, you don't realize that we're all kind of like one up in our spaces. We've spoken about it a lot. I have one friend in Cape Town. Do you know what I mean? All of the people that like other people that I resonate so much. Well, you're all here. Jesus, you're in like States and Canada. And I'm like, did you really just like pop us off here? Could you not just make life easier and just have us together in a community? That would be nice, but that's the mission, isn't it? That's the mission. So yeah, Stephanie, Egypt. So Stephanie's in Egypt. Yeah, by the way, Stephanie's in Egypt. I forgot to say that actually. Thank you for holding out down the consciousness. I'm bringing Egypt in for a Stephanie. This is just a beautiful cauldron blend, isn't it? So we're going to go now into a meditation together. Okay, so I really want you to enter into this meditation in the energy of a group that we're here, okay? And those that are watching, obviously, the recording, it'll be even more so, all right? So get yourselves comfortable, okay? And we are going to go into a very lovely journey with Mother and, of course, each other. Okay, so closing your eyes now, finding your comfortable space. Jeez. Taking some nice big deep breaths in. Once again, we'll hold, and then a big exhale. Breathing in, inhale, hold, and exhale. And breathing in one more like that. Make it your biggest one. Inhale, hold, and exhale. Now bringing the energy back into your center, into your quiet space. Taking some long, slow, deep breaths in your own pace, in your own way. And really giving some love and acknowledgement to your physical being. For this vessel, this divine physical vessel, is the very one that takes you from one cycle to another. Tired as this body may be, he or she never, ever gives up. Never lets you down, always prepared to deliver you messages of what is really going on. It's your communicator, it has your back. No more will we be wrestling and fighting our bodies. We come together. Union means as one, body, mind, and spirit. So taking some nice big deep breaths into all of you, your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. And as you start to breathe, you breathe that beautiful divine breath into your lotus flower, which is in the center of your heart portal. And as you breathe into the heart, you ignite, activate the opening of this sacred chakra. And suddenly the closed petals, they start to unfurl one by one by one. There is a beautiful hue of light blues, dark blues, golds, all sorts of energies. And this lotus flower now opens up wide. And as you breathe in and you breathe out, you feel yourself enter into the heart portal now, journeying deeply into your own inner world. And as you let go out there, you feel this great sigh and relief as you just feel the tension just leave your being. And you float there, weightless, in your own inner universe, in the cosmos, in the stars. And now you are going to be called to a certain timeline, a certain place. You allow yourself to be taken as in this inner cosmos. There's always a pull of energy, and you know when you're going to journey, you are safe, you are protected. Suddenly the magnetic pull comes, and you feel yourself drifting off down a tunnel into a timeline, traveling faster than the speed of light, feeling the energy whisk past your ears, and your hair is blowing in the wind, and you are so calm inside. Because by this time now, as such a powerful, experienced warrior, warrioress, a holder and bringer of the light, you have journeyed, you have traveled, you are a master at holding your peace within as the chaos ensues around you. And chaos enables you to travel. So here you are shooting through the tunnel until suddenly you are spat out, like literally spat out. But you are surprised, if not a little disappointed, as to where you land. And where you land, you look down at your feet. And you look at your feet and it's like trainers are old, dirty, your clothes are ripped. And as you look at the ground around you, nothing grows. Nothing at all. You feel your heart sink. For maybe you expected a different kind of timeline, but you trust why you've been called here. And as you allow your senses to kind of expand a little more, you start to raise your eye level. And you are kind of on a side of a slope, a bank, like a cliff face, but it's not too steep, but you are overseeing towns and cities. And as you stand here, you bear witness to a gray sky, clouds, even the temperature is not that warm. You feel a rumble in your belly, for you're starving. You do not feel well here. You look at your hands, you see the backs of your hands and the fronts of your hands full of calluses. You're just feeling the weight of this place. And as you look around, you see in these cities, in these places, like a war going off, bombs being dropped, chaos, sadness, gray and lack. And then as you stand here, first of all, repelled by the darkness of it all, you start to stand and tap into your inner light, your inner world. That light you hold within you is extremely bright. And it gives you a comfort to be able to stand witness to what you see. And what you're seeing is the old world burning, the old world crashing. And the reason you stand on a cliff is to make sure that you no longer rescue. You can see the people running. You can see the people, some are confused. But it is not your job to rescue them. For those that are meant will make their way up the hill. Those that are not, who've chosen the chaos and chosen not to move, well, that is Mother, Father, God's will. And from up here, you're able to see a panoramic view of the world that you have lived in for lifetimes. But something is different this time, because you're not of this world. You're standing back and you're observing it. You're very well aware that you were, but you are no longer. And there is a sadness and sentiment as you look around this world, for you've been here for lifetimes. Lifetime after lifetime, this is where you reincarnated again and again and again. Your journey has been long. Your journey has meant much for humanity and the world. For each lifetime you reincarnated, you grew, you transformed, you learnt, you become. And those people that you see down there running between the streets, you've got a bird's eye view. They're lost, but so were you. But eventually you found yourself here. So what changed? It was the willingness to continue. It was the willingness to honor your soul contract with Mother Sekhmet, with even Father Thoth. Thoth was the one who called us into the halls of Amenti, and he equipped us quite powerfully with the most powerful mothers to look after us. That is where you received your ignition codes of Sekhmet, of Isis, but most of all Sekhmet. Thoth never was going to send you into these lifetimes time after time without being equipped. Your mission, your coordinates are programmed into your Earth Star chakra. Your tablet of light that you hold within holds all the information that you need. It's a honing system, so you can recognize which portal to jump when the opportunity comes. That's why you're on the hill. Because time after time, you came, you used these innate tools that you have. So you were never lost. You are not lost now. You may think that you were, but that was the deal you made when you came to planet Earth, to master the mind. So you stand here now looking at this world, and there is very little left here for you. There is little left for you to actually do to change anything here, for your work here is done. And the reason your work is done is because you have stood, or you're standing on the hill. If your work wasn't done, you'd be down there with everybody else. So as you stand there and you take a look at this world, you consciously, very consciously look at it and say, wow, we've completed. Sekhmet is a sacred number 7. 7 is completion. We have indeed completed. And it is now time to leave this place and go into a new cycle. But there is a sentiment, something holding you there. But before you go into that, suddenly you become aware that maybe you're not the only person stood on this hillside. And as you look to your left, you see someone not too far away with a backpack on, same clothes, ripped. They're also looking in the same direction as you. You look to your right. There's about 3 or 4 people scattered on the hills as well. No one's aware of each other. We just know that we're all at the top of this hill. And you're looking down at this world that is in chaos, fire, bombs. It's done. And then suddenly, that fire that warmed within you, you start to see it in the others that stand on the hill. And those others are you. Those others are me. And as we become aware of each other, there is a joy that ignites in our hearts because we know who we are. That's my pride. They're my tribe. And here you were standing all alone, and you were actually never, ever on your own. You start to come together, for the light and the flames turns this very grey scene into a beautiful, colourful scene. You run towards each other. We are hugging. We are just like laughing because we didn't know each other were there. We're happy. We were like, wow. We're like pointing down there going, wow, were you down there? Oh my God. But we are just so happy. And we can see more and more of us joining our big hug fest. But then that is cut super short because suddenly there is a very powerful presence behind us. And as we turn and we look up, there stands Mother Sekhmet. She lets out an almighty roar to cut the noise, to announce her presence, and to anchor the energy. We all stand to attention. Lion's hearts online. Fire in our belly. We start to feel the real us come online. She calls her tribe and her pride up to meet her on the top of the hill now. We don't have to be asked twice. We run. And we are now standing in front of the great, majestic, powerful lioness goddess, Sekhmet. She speaks to each and every one of us. My children, you are here. It is time now for us to come together as a pride, and more will come, for you are a conscious collective of powerful codes. This energy that we hold and we seed up here on this mountain will emanate over the lands. Those that hear our call, those that feel our feline frequency, they will follow, but there will be many that do not. And that is not your purpose. That is not your concern. You are the frontliners. You are the ones that set the pace. You cannot, will not busy yourself or distract yourself with rescuing, saving, or going back. Trust and know that is not your job. Trust and know that they must find their own power, as you did, to follow the frequency. And trust me, dear hearts, they will. Your only job here is to now step over the threshold to the brand new timeline. And as you stand here, this threshold you stand upon, my threshold, Sekhmet, is the most powerful liminal space you will ever experience. And she lets out another roar again. You are crying. You are overwhelmed. You are excited. You are empowered. And you stand before her just like, we are ready. She calls on each and every one of us now to hold hands, but to face the old world. And she now asks us, each and every one of us individually, what is it that holds you here through sentiment? What clings you so tightly to the old timeline, which is preventing you from stepping over the threshold? I want each and every one of you now to take a moment and feel into your lives what it is that keeps you threaded to this old timeline. Allow no thought and allow only channel intention, words, inspiration. What is it that you fear stepping into the new? Or what is it you cannot let go of in the old earth? Allow it to come to the surface now. It could be someone. It could be a situation, meaning a belief system, a question of worthiness. It could be familiarity. Well, I've already been here for so long. It's what I know. Fear of the unknown. It could be that you don't know what it's like to be in a community. You don't know what it's like to be with others that love and support you. Perhaps there is a fear to opening up to others. What does the old world still hold you in? There is a thread that runs from each one of your hearts as we all stand and face this old world on the hill. And that thread runs all the way down into the towns and the cities. It's just attached to the old earth timeline. Where does that thread attach? Maybe you can feel that in your hip. Maybe it's tied around your ankles, which is why you can't move. Maybe it's wrapped around your head so you can't see. It's like a blindfold. Maybe the cord is wrapped around your neck so you can't speak. Allow it to be shown. You did not know that there were still threads there. Sekhmet now stands at the side of us as a long line, and she now ignites the fire and flames in her pores. And she says, take a nice big deep breath. And as you breathe in, 1, 2, 3, she blasts you all with fire, disintegrating all the cords, disintegrating all of the attachments, and you gotta breathe it in. Breathe it in now. Let go of the attachment. Exhale. Another. She conjures up another fireball. She blasts you with it. Breathe it in now. Exhale. Any residue. One more. Conjures up more fire. Breathe it in and exhale as she blasts you one more time. You're all still standing there, hands held now, but completely free of cords. The energy that pulses through each one of you, through your hand holding, heart, hand, you're like a beautiful electrical current. The energy and the fire is tremendous. And suddenly you feel a fire behind you. Sekhmet waves her arm and she ignites a wall of fire. You cannot see through this wall. And she asks you now, turn around, face the fire. Now the old world is behind you. I call each and every one of you now into your absolute service. Do you agree to walk with me? Answer now. It is a sacred yes. And as we hold hands together, she makes it very clear, let it be known that you do not walk alone. You are the ones who walk in oneness. Order of Melchizedek. And you breathe that in. As you step away from this old timeline, you are letting go of everything you once knew. And you are agreeing to just not knowing. Because that is the divine feminine mysteries. Letting go of the need to know, but knowing beyond the fires is a massive transformation. You will be stepping into the new earth timeline. You are safe, you are held, you are protected, and you are guided by me, Sekhmet. So we are called now to take a nice big deep breath in, holding hands. Now we're squeezing each other's hands. Inhale. And as you exhale, you step through the fire and you feel your whole physical body, your energy field absolutely transmuted with fire. And you step through this force field, and whatever was stuck to you is no more. And as we stumble through this huge wall of fire, we're suddenly surrounded by so much light. We let go of our hands and we rub our eyes because it's so bright here. And it takes a while for us to adjust to this frequency. The energy is very, very high. And what is presented in front of us as we allow our eyes to adjust, Sekhmet now stands in her Atlantean form. Beautiful white lion, long flowing hair, still her lion ears, bright blue eyes, and her beautiful white long dress. She is shrouded in gold, and she has an energy about her which is so starlight and crystalline. And as she shows us all, she's like, look at this. And it is a city of light. We are now looking from the other side of the hill down onto this beautiful, beautiful land. And there is like star crystals. There are star temples. And yes, we are seeing it in the energetic origin form. But she says, what you see here now will be in brick form. But this is the absolute core of what is the truth of the new world. This is the energy behind it all. So buildings will look like buildings, but they will be charged. Cities of light. And as we stand there now, she ignites a white flame in our hearts, not a golden one, a white-hearted flame. And we feel this brand new ignition. And the reason you're being gifted this now in your heart is because it's going to be the consciousness that you are going to be able to clear space, clear your being with, and start to create from in the new world. Yes, you still have your golden flames and everything like that, but this particular flame that she is giving us is star consciousness. As above, so below. You have agreed to come into the middle world timeline. You've agreed to be in your physical vessel now, which means you have agreed now to be gifted and to receive the white flame, because this is the flame that will help you now take the first tentative steps into your new life, into why you came. Let it be known, she says, that you did not come for pain. You did not come for wounding. You did not come for dark souls. Even though that is why you have been here for so long, it's been a lot. But she says that you actually came here for this. You have not even started your incarnation on Gaia yet. You haven't been gifted the good stuff yet. So, so much more to come. And here we all stand with the ignition of the white flame in our hearts. Beautiful Sekhmet standing there as a white lion. And she slowly walks down the line, looking each of us deeply in the eyes and nodding and smiling and sending us her Sekhmet love. She asks you now to breathe in the possibility of purpose, where you may wish to want to go to next. What does the next month look like for you? In this moment, she calls you now to consciously, you may want to write it down or say it out loud, to consciously speak the energy of which victorious August holds for you. No longer the victim consciousness. What does an empowered soul wish to bring forth in victorious August? Support, abundance, community perhaps, the joy, pure joy of living life. The joy of what it is to sip on a matcha latte. The joy of what it is to watch the sunset. The joy of what it is to know each other once again. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your grit and determination. Thank you for never, ever giving up. Breathe that in now. Breathe in the energy that she's gifted to you. And we embody now the temple of light. We embody now the new earth timeline. Everything is behind you. Expanded white light in your being. Your little aqua star in your third eye, which is so white lion. So white lion. Even your own eyes twinkle this beautiful iridescent blue. And you might have a bit of an awareness of a few whiskers that are popping out right now. And a beautiful white crystalline coat. Beauteous. So now coming into your very being, in this middle timeline, staying with the joy, staying with the victory. I now call for a protective layer of energy to come around your field now, like a golden crust, just holding everything in. And protection is alignment. Protection is not against things that need to make you go small. Protection is alignment. And it makes you stay aligned with your soul, with your heart, with Sekhmet. Thank you for being here. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay, so I have these cards. You know me, I always like my Oracle decks. These are the cards I've been working with for quite some time, actually. Cannot recommend these enough. Can you see that? Sacred symbols. They're very, very, very basic, but they are truly powerful just to kind of like, and even the explanations in the book is only that thick. So, but I use these on my altars all the time to bring in energy because it's major symbols, you know? I'm so glad you like that, Annette. I was like, that was some neck. I was there with you all. I was like right there with you. So we've left the old timeline. And when you feel that there's any remnants, you can just go back into meditation, walk back through the wall if you need to, or call on Sekhmet the White Lion. She has this beautiful long, like proper like human hair, but she has these white ears and these beautiful blue eyes. So sometimes it's just a case of just calling maybe Sekhmet the White Lion in, you know, and just speaking to her from that side. But you've gone through that process now, so whatever works. But the three cards I've just picked for this: Ma'at feather, truth. Okay, can't write this stuff. I love this. Shift. We did it, guys. We did it. The shift. And this one you're going to love. Relief. Well, that says it all, doesn't it? Truth, shift, and relief. That's all I wanted out of this life. That's all I wanted. You know? Wow. I know. Yay. Yeah. So that's the symbols right there. So that was a very, very powerful meditation. And I have to say, from where I sit and when your energies come into the space, I can really, really feel it. And I need you to know that, because the thing is, it's like sometimes we just think, well, you know, does it make a difference? It does collectively now. Like when I do certain meditations and we just say, oh, you stood here and, you know, we walk there. It's a very you thing. But when I bring the group in and I do a channel, it takes me way deeper. And I don't plan any of my channels at all. I get like a little vision. And then like she'll go, you're here, you're there, whatever. And then when I go into channel, I literally channel it. So it could go off and make it 20 minutes longer or whatever. But it goes like that because I'm working with all of you together. Like you're investing your energy just as much as me, as I am. And it's for you to know yourself as teachers. It's for you to know yourself as space holders. Do you know what I mean? There's no more walking behind someone, it's walking by the side of them. That's how we roll. That's Melchizedek. That's Order of Sekhmet as far as I'm concerned. So I just want to thank every single one of you for always showing up as well, because that's like, you know, I didn't even advertise this group because I've been so busy traveling and with all the dramas I've been going through. And I thought, and I said, even said to Michelle, I said, well, if there's two of us, well, and you always show up and there's like, you know, we're all here. So thank you so, so much for always showing up. You know, I'll like always be here. So, you know, now just to give you a heads up for the month of August, I mean, it's quite ironic, isn't it? This is my time, but I'm actually in Avalon as from the 5th to the 15th. So I'm going to be doing some massive work with the group there, really embodying the Egypt energies in Avalon. So of course, I'm going to be completely off radar for that time. But what I am going to try and do, I'm going to do my best to do, is I'm going to launch some videos, which is the 7 arrows of Sekhmet, and I'm going to try and put that out there, and you know, I'm sure I'll be able to. So the videos and the energy updates will be a little bit thin on the ground because I won't be able to do them. And also just on that, I feel very uncomfortable recording videos when I'm not actually there. I don't do this pre-thing because when I do an energy update, I'm like, oh, I need to share it in the moment. I find it very difficult to do an energy update and then post it in 10 days time. I just find it, for me, it just doesn't feel right. So I would rather just say to you, I'm going to be a bit quieter on YouTube, but I am going to try and do these seven arrows of Sekhmet, and they're very much like the Ma'at principles, and they're going to help you really kind of like ground into the process that we go through in August. They're kind of like, it's about you know, sort of like the first arrow is about protection and everything like that, and then the second one, third one, and you're gonna, and they're very similar to like I say, the 7 principles of Ma'at. And you're at least going to keep you like on track, you know? So yeah, and then we can fall into temple the following month. And then of course, like gather our soul parts, swatch some notes, see what we found out over Lion's Gate and do it that way, you know? And then just talking about groups, for those of you that feel the call, when I get back out of Egypt, I'm going to be cranking it up. So those of you that feel that they want to walk with us in, because like Michelle, we've got Michelle, Josh, quite a few that you've already signed up so far, or shown interest to. And, you know, with these Sekhmet pilgrimage, it really is it's really exactly that. She made it very clear that she's chosen her people. I believe, I really do feel that your initiation is going to come through Lion's Gate. So there may be an awakening to step into your work as a devotee of Sekhmet, but also as well, you might be being called to actually go stand with her in Egypt, which is why I believe the timing of me doing this group, first Sekhmet group I've ever done, I do believe my whole life's work is specifically for this tour. It's very niche. It's very, very specific. It's not like the other ones that I've done. And it's ceremony. It's cacao, blue lotus. It's all about Sekhmet, nothing else, you know, drumming on the Nile and everything like that. So it really is a very, very powerful group of initiation. So if you feel cool that you really right, Sekhmet got me, like, let's do this, that group is going to be a massive undertaking of just embodying being in service to the goddess in however she has agreed with you. Okay, so Jody, yes, you put your hand up.
I did.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, by the way.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you just popped up on my YouTube.
Right, to do that.
First time I did a real powerful gong bath meditation and Sekhmet come through, and then you just popped up and I was like, and you had the same like Adidas hoodie as me on, and I was like, oh yeah, and then I just started following you. I was like, I like this lady.
Thank you.
But every time the last couple of months, I've always been busy on the last month, so I managed to pop on today. So
I'm so happy, and I'm so happy. You're obviously in England, right?
Bournemouth, yeah.
Oh, my sister lives in Bournemouth. Hey, don't
Yeah.
worry, guys, you just chill. Me and Joni are hanging out.
Sorry.
No, welcome. I think that's so funny because, like, with YouTube, like, honestly, she'll grab your attention, and if I'm wearing an Adidas jacket,
I was like, yes. And then you started talking about that, and I was like, yes. And then you were saying about DJ, and I was like, yes. And I was like,
oh, amazing. Well, welcome to the tribe. Welcome to the tribe.
Thank you.
Yeah. everybody here on YouTube, we're all same vibes, man. You know what I mean? I just love doing this temple because it's just a great hangout. It really is. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. I was going to ask quickly, is there like
Yeah.
a payment plan for the Egypt
Yes.
tour
Yes, there's
thing?
installments. So basically the way I roll, you have to put down a non-refundable deposit, which is 2,000 US. But after that, you can do a custom-made payment plan because I have a system where I can just talk to you about it. Prior to that, we used to have to do 3 payments fits all. But if you want to do it monthly or you want to do 4 payments, I can program it into the system and then away you go. You know what I mean? So it's become a lot easier in working with people's like financial rhythm, if you like, you know. But yeah, it would be amazing if you felt called to come. And then maybe like if you feel called, like what I usually do is have a Zoom. So this is for everyone. I have a Zoom meeting, a Zoom chat, and we talk about the logistics and everything like that and your connection with Sekhmet and how best I can help you. And then we go from there. You know what I mean? But it's like, I really do feel that there is, and I'm just going to share this because I'm very, very non-traditional when it comes to Sekhmet. There's a lot of amazing priestesses out there that I talk to all the time, and they're very much the goddess of pestilence, the goddess of war, and all of these things, right? And I couldn't tell you about any of that because I speak to Sekhmet, and she comes through Hathor. Hathor's the one that got me DJing. Hathor's the one that got me like popping it. And then Sekhmet always said to me from the very first conversation I ever had with her, I didn't even know I could channel, but I would just remember this big ass statue speaking to me, and she was like, you're going to hold groups and it's going to look very different to this. And I've told this story. I said, absolutely not, that's not happening. And I ran and hid. You can't hide from Sekhmet. And then it's only now I'm realizing, oh, because in future I want to do like, you know, Afro house on the Nile. Why not celebrate Hathor with a mixture of the meditations and everything like that? Because my belief is we can get stuck into the ancient teachings too much. We don't live in ancient times anymore. We don't live in a temple. So we need to kind of work with these. And Sekhmet said, I move with you. I'm a goddess that just moves in her energy. And yes, there's the ancient teachings. There's many teachers that will hold that down, but that's not for me. I'm meant to be like kind of like the different kind of vibe of people, which is priestesses with a pimp, okay? Priest with a pimp. I mean, that is like, that's all of us, right? You know, and it's about celebrating your uniqueness, and it's okay to be you, because otherwise trying to fit into a template blocks your abilities. And if you can just be free, then we work with your abilities and we unlock them. And then once you know what your superpowers are, your purpose is going to be very clear. And then you just go off into the world and you just nail it. Do you know what I mean? But the joy codes is very important. That's why Sekhmet and Hathor, obviously, joy, celebration, dance, and Sekhmet with the fire of purpose, you know? So like I say, the group in May, we have a new moon on the first day at the Sphinx. So that's going to be power charged, you know what I mean? With all of that. But like, I believe that she's called me to do that tour in the new timeline. I believe that it wasn't meant to be done before that, you know, because of us all waking up now to what we're here to do. Not struggle with money and have shitty relationships and all the rest of it. No, we weren't meant to do that. And there was a special collective that were coming together with this vibe. So she's pinned it for May, you know. So yeah, so that's the buzz. So if you're interested, pop me an email or whatever, and then I will pick it up. Because I go to Glastonbury on anyway over the weekend, but like, you know, I will pick up emails when I get out on the 15th, and then we can chat, you know. So yeah.
Is there any, can you turn up for a day in Avalon, or is it like a whole?
No, it's a whole
week
thing.
thing?
It's a whole thing. It's like the group.
Okay.
It's like we start on the first day, but I'm also running Avalon every single year as well, because the Avalon mysteries and Egypt go hand in hand. So
Yeah.
you've got very much the water codes of Avalon, and then you've got the fire of Egypt. So that's why I got very, very powerful intel 2 years ago, like that I must do this. And now this is the first group I'm holding. So it'll be like Sekhmet and Avalon every single year, and all my groups in Avalon will always be on Lion's Gate. I've already spoken to Chalice. Well, I'm booked until 2028 on Lion's Gate. So I'm sorry to any of the teachers who wanted to teach there at that time. They're my dates. So yeah. So it's the gift that keeps on giving. So, you know, you'll be guided to those places when you need to get to go there. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I'm super happy you're here, Jodie. Thank you so much.
I'm happy to be here, mate.
Yeah, no, brilliant, brilliant. Love my people from Mud Island. Don't get many of them. I'm so happy, you know. Anybody else? Everybody well? Are we good to go with our new Earth timeline vibe? Hey? I take that as a yes. Okay. So let it all fall away. And remember, truth, the shift, and relief. Of course. Oh, I can't do that there. And relief there. Okay. So I will be seeing you on the flip side, my lovelies. Thank you so much for all of you coming. I'll stick this recording on before the end of the day or tomorrow. We'll see you on the next temple gathering. So much love to y'all. See you soon.
I thank you.
See you later. Pleasure. See you later.